Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Jenny Halpin, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Major Kushadra Cha. This evening, we warmly welcome the members of the Royal Australian Air Force History and Heritage Team. For the past 6 years, the team have been instrumental in preparing several of the memorial's aircraft collection, including the iconic Lancaster bomber G for George, the FA-18 Classic Hornet, and the RF-111 strike and reconnaissance aircraft for future display in the new Anzac Hall and Anzac Atrium exhibits. For two members of the team, Warrant Officer Stan Lawler and Warrant Officer Murray Heath, this project marks the end of their careers prior to retirement. Gentlemen, thank you all for your service and contributions, which will help generations of visitors to the memorial understand Australia's story of military service. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. Now, if you are able, may I please invite you to stand and join in singing the national anthem. Those who require a seat, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament. Flowers of the forest, wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Bert Frederick Wood. Bert was born around July 1882 in Collingwood, Melbourne. He was the third youngest of 9 children born to Harry and Annie Wood. His sister, Frances, died in 1892, aged only 16. The family remained in Melbourne throughout Bert's life. He completed his education at the High Street State School in Prahran before finding work as a driver for the quartermaster's store. In 1906, Bert married Hannah Louisa Woodgate. The couple had 2 children, Edna May in 1907 and Bert Frederick in 1909. Bert Wood established and enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 1st of October 1914. He was assigned to the 14th Infantry Battalion with the rank of private and began his initial training at Broadmeadows Camp. Bert left Melbourne on the 22nd of December 1914, embarking in HMAT Elsie's for Egypt. Bert arrived in Egypt on the 31st of January 1915 and began further training in camp outside Cairo. The 14th Battalion left Egypt for Malta in early April as part of Mediterranean Expeditionary Force undergoing preparations for the planned Dardanelles campaign. The involvement of the Ottoman Empire in the war threatened British interests in the Middle East, particularly shipping routes and the Suez Canal. The planned landing of troops on the Gallipoli Peninsula was part of a wider British naval operation which aimed to force the Dardanelles Strait, capture the Turkish capital of Constantinople, and ultimately force the Ottoman Empire to withdraw from the war. The 14th Battalion landed at Anzac Cove on the afternoon of 25th of April 1915 as part of the 4th Brigade. On the 19th of May, it helped repel a massive Ottoman counterattack, during which battalion member Lance Corporal Albert Jacka was awarded the Australian Imperial Forces First Victoria Cross. Over the next few months, the battalion was heavily involved in establishing and defending the Anzac Line on the peninsula, moving between frontline trenches and bivouacs around Reserve Gully. In early August 1915, the battalion took part in the August Offensive, the attempt by the British and Allied armies to push through the existing Ottoman lines in order to renew the attempt to capture the peninsula. As part of the offensive, the 14th Battalion was ordered to capture Hill 971, a key piece of strategic high ground near Chinook Bay. The attack began on the 6th of August and lasted 2 days. During this time, the hill was temporarily captured at great cost, but ultimately, Ottoman reinforcements forced the Australians to withdraw on the 8th of August. Facing heavy Ottoman fire on their front and left during the advance, the 14th Battalion was split up, and keeping track of men proved impossible. That attack was ultimately unsuccessful. When the battalion regrouped on the 9th of August, 128 men were missing, including Private Bert Wood. Bert had seriously wounded at Hill 971, suffering from gunshot wounds to his arms, legs, and chest. He was transported from the Dardanelles to Constantinople, where he was admitted to the Shapa Hospital for treatment. Despite the effort of the Turkish doctors to treat him, Bert died from wounds sustained in action on the 19th of August, 1915. He was 33 years old. Bert was buried on the day of his death in Fairy Curie Protestant Cemetery in Constantinople in 1931 as part of the efforts to consolidate the graves of Australian prisoners of war across the Ottoman Empire. Bert's remains were exhumed and reinterred at Haidar Pasha Cemetery. His name is also listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Bert Frederick Wood, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.